Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Carl D'Souza. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of Power Platform TV. Today we're going to take a look at business process flows. We created a video about this previously, where we advanced a user through different stages of business process flows using JavaScript. In this video, we're going to take a look at a different client API method that we can use to move the user forward and backwards in business process flows, as well as completing processes, abandoning processes, various different things that we can do with this client API. Let's take a look at how to use it. So this is an extension of what we did in a previous video where we looked at how to advance a user through a business process flow using JavaScript. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do it a different way this time. Let's take a look at how to do this, right? So we're going to go through the code on this blog post that I wrote about this. I'll put the link in the description. And what we're going to take a look at is this MoveNext and MovePrevious methods, okay? So quick refresher, let's go over to flow.microsoft.com, and that takes us to Power Automate. And we want to just take a look at the business process flow that we have set up here. So if I click on My Flows, this will take us over to Business Process Flows, and from here I'm going to click on the account BPF. So this is the business process flow that we set up in a previous video, and it's super simple. We have 3 stages. They're called Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3. And inside Stage 1 we have the account number field as a step. Stage 2 is the ticker symbol, and this one's actually a required field. And then in Stage 3 we have the account rating field, which is not required, okay? So this is enabled on the account entity. So if I go into D365, and let's go ahead and we'll create a new account, and we'll see this business process flow is enabled. So here's a new account. Let's go give this a name. And before we do anything, let's just not enter any required fields, and let's just jump straight into the browser debugger, and let's go ahead and write some code so we'll see this working, okay? So let's go and create a variable. We're going to call this process, and we're going to assign this to XRM page data process. So you will use the form context. In my example here, I'm just going to use XRM page, but it's the same method, data.process. So if I assign it to that variable, and let's just go and take a look at that variable. So this is giving us information about this business process flow, okay? So that's cool. So if we take a look at what methods are behind this, we can see we can do a lot of stuff, right? So we can abandon this process if we want to. We can add various different events onto this process. So for example, if we wanted to run an event when the stage is changed, we could hook onto this add on stage change method here and send through a function that will run when the stage is changed, right? We can get a lot of information about the active process and the active stage, the instance ID of this process that's running, and we can do various other things, like we can set that information as well, right? So the interesting one here is, let's start with MoveNext. So if I were to run this, we're going to see that nothing's actually going to happen at this point. The reason being because we don't have these required fields set up, okay? So same deal with the user interface. There's nothing here to actually click on if I wanted to go to the next stage, right? So what I need to do is I need to enter in this information, and we will be able to advance to the next stage after we've saved the record, right? So I'm entering in a couple of required fields here. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we'll see that I already have an account called this. That's cool. I'm just going to ignore and save. Looks like it picked up the website being the same, so that's fine. And so now that that's saved, if I click on the stage 1, we see this next stage is available, right? So that means that we are ready to advance to the next stage of the business process. So I clear this out, and then now I'm on stage 1, and everything's been saved. So let's try to move to the next process, right? So if I do If I click on process.moveNext, so we're going to run this method now. And so we're on stage 1, and let's see what happens if I click enter here. Automatically we're moved over to stage 2, right? Cool. So if I wanted to go backwards, I can just change this to MovePrevious, and we're going to see that this is going to change in real time again, and now we're back on stage 1, right? So you don't have to do anything regarding refreshing the user interface or anything like that. You know, if you want to advance the user through JavaScript in real time, this is the way to do it, right? So a couple of things that you'll need to consider. Let's go and move next. So now we're on stage 2, and don't forget that on stage 2 we have this ticker symbol that is a required field, right? So if I were to run this move next, we can see that it's not advancing to stage 3 because it doesn't have that required field information. So we can go in here and enter this ticker symbol. So if I enter one of these in and tab off this, again, at this point we don't have a saved form, right? So even though that required field is filled in, if I did a move next now, we're not moving to the next stage yet, right? Because the form has not been filled in. So if I just go down here and click save, it's going to save this form. And now if I just were to run this again, we'll get to stage 3, right? No problems, right? So that's something that you'll need to consider. You'll need to do the save automatically. Let me go back to previous again. And you know, this is pretty similar to how the standard functionality works anyway. If I were to, for example, change this ticker symbol to something like this, you can see here that this is a change that I've made and it's unsaved. If I were to click on the next stage now, what we would see in the normal flow without even using JavaScript is clicking next stage will go and do the save and then advance me to the next stage there, right? So that's how the standard business process flows work. So you need to consider that when you're building this JavaScript to do this moving. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed, and hopefully this code's useful for some point in the future for you. Thank you.
So that's it, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course check out my blog at carldesouza.com. Thank you.